everybody. Welcome to today's episode of Big Beautiful Badasses. I have Andrea Powell with me today. Y'all, this woman is epic, like it says. She is an author. She is a fellow podcaster, which we're going to talk about that because y'all definitely got to check out her show. It's amazing. But she's also a friend. And, we've built this friendship over the past year, really, because she was on season 1 on multiple shows. I got her on season 2. Guarantee she's gonna be back for season 3. She is a recurring guest in the show. I just love this lady. But we're gonna get to that all in a minute. Y'all, you know how much I love my coffee. And if you like what I'm doing and you want to keep me going, please go over to buymeacoffee.com/ this fat girl life. Now, you can follow me there for free. There's no charge. And that's where I put a lot of some of the juicy stuff. And I got some juicy stuff coming up. So you definitely want to follow me over there. But if you become a paid member, it's $5 a month. That's cheaper than Starbucks, y'all. But you also get access to the guided journals that I've created at no charge. That is my gift to you. And there's going to be some other goodies coming up too. So buymeacoffee.com/ this fat girl life. Hey, Andrea.
Hi, Kimberly. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
I am feeling fantabulous. I want to thank you for giving me yet another chance to return and discuss some things with you and your people. I'm really excited to be here today.
Well, I am thrilled to have you. So, just in case nobody saw you last season, tell everyone a little bit about yourself, real quick.
I feel like I'm in an interview when you say that. Tell me about yourself. So, I am just a regular person. Like I do a lot of stuff. Like, okay, so the podcast, We Are Not So Different. And yes, I am an author with Devotions from the Heart of an Encourager. And I do a lot of stuff, but I think my main, like what I love is like people and like encouraging people. So that's like my wheelhouse. That's like my jam. Like even my podcast is surrounded about like bring me those people that are like outcast or don't fit in or don't think that they are. Bring me those people. Let me
Mhm.
love on them for a little bit. So yeah, it's me. What you see is what you get. If you see me in the street, this is what you're gonna get. If you see me in church, this is what you're gonna get. This is me.
I
This
love it. Well, today we are talking about fat representation in the media or lack thereof and weight stigma and how the two really coincide. The reason for this topic is I started watching some shows from back in the day, realized how much those shows really kind of formed a lot of my thinking. And I'm not trying to like trash any shows, but I just finished watching It's a Different World. Love that show.
love
Love that show.
it.
In the 80s, 90s, that was my jam. I watched that every week. Love me some Dwayne Wayne. Not even gonna lie.
Yes.
Those flip up glasses were it.
Yes.
But, and I want to start on the positive. They tackled a lot of issues.
Yeah.
They talked about AIDS. They talked a lot about racism. They talked about, pregnancy, unplanned pregnancies. They talked about a lot of issues. Here's some where some of my issues are. One, everything got wrapped up in a little bow by the end of an episode. That ain't real
They have 30 minutes to make it work.
life. In 30 minutes, you can find out you're not pregnant, your life is great. Or you can find out the girl sitting right next to you got AIDS and everything's, we are all going to love on her and that's it. That was the end of the episode. That's not real life. That's not how it works. But it's typical of sitcoms. So I'll digress. Watching 6 seasons, I saw 3 characters that would qualify as plus size, but we're talking like maybe a 2X. One background character with no lines that was in 2 episodes. And that was in season 5. Like they didn't even bring this girl on until
So,
season
so
5.
towards the end, right?
That's when the show was ending. They knew it was fading out. It was time to wrap it up. That's the only time they brought a fat body on. No lines in the background. Like if I wasn't looking for her, I never would have noticed her. That's my issue with the show right there. Yes, I think the show needed to happen.
Sure.
Especially for Black community, because just like fat women need to see, we need to see that representation. There were not a lot of shows at that time that had Black females and Black males as lead characters.
Correct.
And this whole show, that's what it was about. You didn't see hardly any white people in it. And it showed like such a positive aspect of it. Correct me if I'm wrong, because I do know what I don't know.
Okay.
It tackled a lot of issues, especially with the racism that Black people face.
Certainly.
Am I correct?
Correct. It was based at an HBCU, a historically Black college university. So, yeah. And you're absolutely right, because of the fact that there were not a whole lot of shows that like focused on people of color as the main characters or leading roles. Different World was one of the shows that was ahead of its time. But I wholeheartedly understand the issue that you take with it, which is the lack of plus size.
Yeah. There was one main character who was there from, I think, season 2 to the end. I can't think of what her last name was. Kim was her. I love it, Kim.
I remember. Yes.
Kim was, probably a 2X, and she had weight fluctuation. There were times when she was a little bigger, a little smaller, but that was her general range. Mm-hmm. And I love that they did have her there, which kind of was ahead of its time even then, because most TV shows had that size 8 white blonde hair girl.
Yep.
And that's the only way I can describe it. I ain't trying to hate on nobody, but that's what it was.
Right.
You had Tiffany Amber Thiessen. You had, God, I can't even think of, Alyssa Milano. People like that were the main characters on most shows. Mm-hmm. So to have her there, and I believe her, Charlene Watson Gibson, something of that nature. Her first name is Charlene in real life. So to have that character was ahead of its time, but it's still not enough.
No.
Even then, it wasn't enough.
Mm-mm.
But they did, I do like the fact that they had it, a small plus size woman in the romantic relationships, in the drama, in all of it. But my God.
Can we even consider, I'm about to, I think, open a can of worms when I say this. Can we even consider Kim a plus size woman though? And yes, I know there are different levels of plus size, and I don't want to go into the whole, because I'm not trying to shame nobody. Whatever your size is, embrace it and love it, right? But it's like, I want to see some woman with some heft. Can I say?
Yes.
Can I say that?
My husband and I were actually having this conversation before he went to work. And I commented, because there's all these wonderful terms now for different sections within the fat community. Mm-hmm. My body, it qualifies as an infinifat.
It's called what?
Infinifat.
Infinifat.
Yes.
Okay.
I hate that term, but it is what it is.
Okay.
The only person that I have seen on TV that has a body like mine, Chrissy Metz on This Is Us.
I don't watch the show, but I know who you're talking about. I don't know what an infinifat is. I'm going to have to Google it later.
5X and up.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, now I'm racking my brain to see what was the young lady who played Precious?
Gabri Sabot.
Gabby. So would she be considered?
She's right on that edge.
Okay.
I believe she is just a little bit smaller. I know she has lost some weight.
Okay.
And that's her choice. Good for you. You go, girl. Do you? And but she's very close to that line, and she's an amazing actress. If y'all
Mm-hmm.
have not seen Precious, watch it.
Mm-hmm.
It is amazing. And even Monique was kind of bordering that line for a while.
Yeah, but she made it clear and that's one thing that I wanted to say. Like, anytime that I can think of, and your listeners feel free to correct me if I am mistaken, when there was a character that was plus size that was introduced to the audience in a show or held a recurring spot, it was for comedic relief. When I think of Nell from Give Me a Break, like,
Yes.
we loved it. She was a plus size lady, but it was definitely comedy, right?
Oh yes.
And then
Oh yes.
there's a guy from Remember What's Happening rerun. He would always do.
Rerun. Oh my
He
God,
would
I know. I
always
forgot about him.
Yes, but comedic relief. He was the comedy, right? And I know their mom on What's Happening. Their mom was a plus size woman, but you saw her so rarely. Like, so rarely did she grace the stage, and she was this tall, thick madame with ebony dark skin, and I'm like, yes, but you would only see her ever so
Mm-hmm.
often. So yeah, like, when we did see them, it was more than not for comedy's sake. There
Nine
was,
times out of 10.
yeah,
9 times out of 10. Now, they did have the show Roseanne.
okay,
Roseanne Barr was plus size.
hmm
John Goodman
he was a
was
big
plus
man,
size. He was a big
yes.
dude.
But you know what? And not no diss against the man. Please don't come for me because I know how y'all like to tussle. But I feel like men get it a little bit
It's
easier.
more acceptable. It is
Yeah,
more acceptable to see a large man than it is to see a large woman.
yeah.
And it's been that way for as long as I can remember. Because through history, you saw bigger men on TV. Perry Mason.
Yep.
That goes back to the days of Perry Mason.
Yeah.
And that was acceptable. You didn't have people bashing because of his size. You didn't
Not
have
as
people
much.
bashing John Goodman.
Yeah. But he was
And
also John Goodman was comedy.
he was. Roseanne did tackle some issues,
Roseanne
though.
did.
And
Yeah.
he tackled some stuff on that. I'm going to give that man credit there.
Yeah.
But in his movies, yeah, he was more than,
John
9 times out of
Candy,
10.
funny guy. Yeah.
Yep.
But and once again, let me reiterate, I'm not minimizing the struggle of the big man. Okay. First of all, I
It
love y'all.
is a struggle. Love
Yes.
those big boys.
Bring me the beard and the bellies. Love them. Okay. I don't want to minimize that. Not saying that you guys haven't like faced any kind of like oppression or aggression or anything like that. But I do believe that I don't know. I just feel like it's harder on us women, man. You can't be a certain size, and even as we spoke on just a little bit earlier, even in the plus size community, it's like we've begun to
There's a lot of hate.
segregate. Yeah, segregate ourselves. Like, dang, like, where do I fit in?
Yeah.
Like, where do I fit in?
There's a lot of body shaming within the plus size community.
Yeah.
And I see this on TikTok, in the fashion industry, all over.
Yeah.
You have these creators that think they're doing a good thing because, I go up to a 2X. Well, guess what? You just left out a whole bunch of people.
Yeah.
And actually, I saw a live on Instagram this morning. Saucy West was talking about it. I love that girl. Oh, love me some Saucy West. I don't know if you follow her. I highly recommend. If you're plus size, follow this woman. She has really grabbed the reins with the fight for inclusivity for bigger bodies. I give her props. But she was talking about that because she watched a thing on TikTok where this white female was talking about how she partnered with this other group, and I didn't watch all of it. So I'm paraphrasing what I remember of it. But she partnered with a fashion brand. They created, the stuff, and it only goes up to a very small size. And it's not even sizing accurate. Their 2X fits an extra large. That's not accurate.
That's frustrating.
Oh, God. That's a whole nother can of worms.
Right.
But she was like, what are you doing for the fat community? Blah, blah. girl. Like I wanted to reach through my computer and choke. And I a girl Saucy West went off. Like she was legitimately angry, and it was righteous anger. Don't tell some of us that we're, and that's where that segregation is. Of, I'm doing this for the plus size community, but this is where it stops.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have, women in the bigger bodies that are saying, we're still here. See us, hear us. And that's where a lot of that weight stigma comes in because it's perpetuated by social media, by television, by movies, by music. Because even in the music industry, you had Mama Cass. She was a big girl. She was back in what, 60s, 70s? The Mamas and the Papas? That's in the 70s. I don't remember it, and correct me if I'm wrong. I'm working off memory. I got COVID brain. It's a real thing. I'm still recovering from that. And I'm old. I'm over 45. Memory's gone. But I don't remember anybody really in the 80s that would be considered plus size for music.
Well, if they were not frontline. Like the lady who did, I just saw an article. She sang like one of the Everybody Dance Now. Everybody knows that song.
Yep, I was about to talk about that.
Yes.
Oh, CNC Music Factory of the 90s.
Yes. And they never gave her props. She wasn't the one. They had this skinny, I don't want to say skinny like it's a bad thing. They had a slender African-American model. And I say model because she was not a singer. So she was lip singing the words to Everybody Dance Now. And everybody thought, ooh, that's her. Meanwhile, no. It was a plus size woman that was blowing.
And that just became public within the last 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
That actually happened.
Yep.
Because nobody knew about that when CNC Music Factory, was out there in public.
Mm-hmm.
You had those skinny models.
Yep.
And she was a model. She actually was a model. But they had her performing in the concerts, in the videos.
Yep.
Lip syncing the music that a fat black woman did.
Yep.
And that woman's voice was amazing. But you didn't have anybody that was really frontline in the pop culture scene. Now, in other styles of music, in more of the gospel style, even Christian music, it's more acceptable.
Mm-hmm.
Should be bigger.
Well, I mean, because then and not to be like a jerk or whatever, but how you going to be in church like shaming somebody? That's like the whole purpose of like.
But what happens.
Oh, it does. Don't get it twisted. I feel you. It does. But it's like you do it at the risk of your own peril, of your own reputation or whatever. So I guess I can see why in that area it would be more acceptable because it's like you're supposed to tell people, come as you are, but if you fat, don't you come.
Right? If you fat, you in the back.
So, yeah, but I totally get what you mean about that type of thing, lack of representation leading to the stigma or the mindset of even how you think. Because when you did tell me about the whole, how you went back and watched like different world and didn't see, the representation, I'm like, you know what? Like, it's true. And how I was saying earlier about the whole, when you did see them, it was for the comedy relief. Mm-hmm. And I don't know, now I'm thinking about like how like I grew up and like I didn't really get picked on like for being plus size. I've been big all my life. And I don't know if it's because I had brothers whose names preceded me or it's just like I didn't care. But I never really got picked on for being a big girl. But I do often find myself being like the comedy relief in circles. I remember myself being the funny one. Like you have to have something, right? Like if you're big, then you need like something else. Like I know I'm adorable, but like looks will totally take you so far. But the more I think about it, the more I'm like, wow, like it really does have a hand in how those performed.
Mine was the opposite. I grew up in a small community, and yes, we're all adults now. Things have changed. love a lot of the people that, I went to school with, but I was the brunt of jokes.
Mm.
I, I wasn't accepted as one of the popular kids, and so I remember that happening. And, I there was one guy, he went to a neighboring school. Oh, and I'm not going to say his name. I will not put him out there like that.
Okay.
But if he ever listens to this, he's going to know who he is.
You know who you are.
Yes, you know who you are. He was a senior, I was a junior. And I remember, and I can't believe I'm going to say this publicly,
Oh, Lord.
but his joke was about my body, saying you could slap a wave and ride.
So
I remember going home and crying.
oh,
Like,
no.
I wouldn't cry in front of them. I would not give them that satisfaction. But I remember that. And this is 30 plus years later.
Wow.
And I still remember that comment. And this was from a big dude. He was not small. And so that's where that fat shaming comes in,
Yeah.
even in the fat community.
Yeah. He was probably projecting. And I'm not making excuses for him. Whoever you are, you know who you are. But he was probably projecting because he know that was what he was dealing with himself. And they'll do anything to get themselves out of that spot. Like, take the light off of me and put it on anyone else. And in this case, it was you, and that sucks. I don't think people realize the weight of their words. Once those things are out there, you can't take them back.
Exactly. Regardless. And you don't know how long that is going to stick with somebody. Mm-hmm. And like I said, this was 30 plus years. I still remember the comment. Now, do I cry about that comment nowadays? No.
Right.
Because you know what? I know what I'm worth. I love my body. And I am here taking up space. And if you don't like the space that I take up, screw it. I don't care anymore. But at the age of 16, 17,
yeah.
That killed me.
Wow.
That killed me.
Yeah, that's and it tugs at my heartstrings to know that what they say, youth is wasted on the young or something like that. Like, when you're little and you're not thinking about, the words that have repercussions that could damage people, their spirit, their mental, whatever, what I'm saying. You're young, so you don't know. And then, but sometimes you have an old fool, nothing worse than an old fool. So in your late years and you still using your words to harm, like it frosts my cookies.
No, I get you.
Yeah.
I get you. Even as an adult, I'm 46 years old. I still hear comments every once in a while.
Mm-hmm.
Usually it's from like those really, and I'm not trying to call out any age groups, but it's those young millennials that don't know better.
Yeah.
And that's just the only way to put it. They don't know better.
Mm-hmm.
But you've got to become aware. It's that old adage, think before you speak.
Yeah, definitely. I will say that I don't know, maybe God has blessed me to shield me from it, or maybe they talking real quiet, but I don't hear a lot of, but you get the looks. I will say that you get the looks. And then when you do get the looks, you can't help but notice, like, oh man, I don't know if you've ever done the thing where you look around and see, I'm probably the biggest one in the room. And then those invasive thoughts start to come in. But it's like, everyone is going to have to come to terms with their current situation. Now, should you desire to lose the weight? Great. But what about the ones who are unable to lose the weight? What if there are medical or underlying conditions? Mm-hmm. Please, like, you're going to have to be able to look in the mirror and say, okay, this is me. And so what? Like, there's this one, I'm sure you've seen it on TikTok, and they cuss, so I'm not going to say it, but it was like, you don't like these rolls? So what? I know somebody who like it. Somebody likes it. Trust and believe.
There's a reason I am married, y'all.
Point blank, period. And this goes for men and women. Like I said, I love a big old man. Give me the beard and the bellies. I love them. Women, somebody likes the rolls. Somebody likes the dimples. Somebody likes the cellulite. Somebody love it. So,
but let's don't get it twisted. You've got the people that truly like you and appreciate you for who you are,
mhm.
but then you also got those people that fetishize it.
Yeah, I don't even
And
want to.
trying to navigate that road,
That's yeah,
again, that is a whole nother can of worms
yeah.
because that goes right along with weight stigma, with body shaming.
Mhm.
Honestly, is that, you know, I've never done a big girl before. You know what? I am not your first. I am not a ride at Disney.
She said, "I'm not a ride at Disney." And you know what else? I hear you. So I saw something the other day where a lady was like, "I'm so sick and tired of people saying, 'Here come the confident ones.' Confident. You keep using the word confident." And it's like I understood what she was saying because you get those people that say, "Oh, you're so confident." Was that supposed to be a compliment? Because it doesn't feel like one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
why?
the
Why am I
backhanded
so
compliment.
confident? Because I decided to come outside dressed. Why? What a part? What part? I don't know. So, and it's like I don't want people to feel like they have to walk on eggshells to like approach people who are plus size. But I'm just saying, use some compassion. If you wouldn't want it said or done to yourself, chances are
Or
no.
to your mama.
Oh, that part, because there's a whole bunch of big mamas out there,
Mm-hmm.
literally.
So
So,
this is my word of advice to every younger person. I'm gonna just say younger because that clarifies a whole bunch of ages. If you are talking crap about a big woman or a big man, if those are not words that you would say to your mama or your daddy, and you would defend your mama and your daddy from somebody else saying them, then don't let those words come out your mouth.
that's good. Mom used to say, if you don't have anything nice to say,
Don't
don't
say
say
anything at
anything at
all.
all.
My mother said that all the time.
Yes.
That was the advice during our time.
Hmm.
Yeah, I remember that. I heard that a lot
Yes, ma'am. And
because
it
I had a
stands
mouth.
true. It holds true to this day. A lot of everything that you think does not have to be said. And I think if people would just learn how to hush, a lot of society's ills could easily be cured.
Yes,
In my humble opinion.
filter yourself,
Yeah.
filter your mouth. You don't have to filter your brain. Think what you want to think,
All
but
day.
filter your mouth.
Yeah. Think about it, write it down, whatever. Just, doesn't have to be said. So, yeah.
Exactly. Now I am gonna kind of circle back because you were talking about like restaurants,
Hmm.
and so I am slowly, coming forward with some, stuff that I've dealt with, but I deal with an eating disorder. I have dealt for years, and I'm finally, learning about it and coming to grips with it and accepting it and trying to readjust my thinking. But I have dealt for years with non-purging bulimia,
Mm.
and so it's really hard for me to go into a restaurant. Like there are certain people I cannot eat in front of, but then I
Mm.
come home and I binge. So when I'm at a restaurant, I always, whether it's true or not, it's been programmed in me that I feel like everybody is watching every bite that I put in my mouth.
Wow.
And unfortunately, you do have that happen a lot. And I think that's, part of what stigmatized it for me is you've got those people that feel like it is their job to police what you eat.
Hmm. Hmm. There's so much I want to say about that, but I'm gonna try to remain saved today. Um, because like when I go out to eat, I'm thankful. My best friend, she's little, she's petite, but she eats. she eats. So when I go out to eat, I'm not thinking about nobody else. You worry about what's on your plate, not worry about what's on mine. But when you talked about the issue that are you currently still experiencing, or was that a past issue?
No,
All
I
right.
still deal with it. Like we went out January 31st actually on my birthday. Went and had dinner. It was just me and my husband, my daughter, a grandbaby, my stepdaughter, and my father-in-law, surrounded by people that love me and show me that love.
Mm-hmm.
And if it were just me, my husband, and my daughter, I don't think it would have been the same experience because I eat in front of them all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But because my stepdaughter, who doesn't live in my house, was there, my father in law, who doesn't live in my house, was there, I remember I ate like part of the appetizer and I ate french fries. I didn't even eat all my french fries, didn't touch my chicken sandwich. I pushed food around on my plate. It looked like I ate. I took it all home. And then I was able to eat it at home.
Because you felt like you were safe at home from the
Yep.
glaring eyes. So my question is, and this might help someone else out there who's experiencing a similar condition or issue. Is that something that you have considered seeking help,
I
counseling?
have actually already spoken. Like I came forward with all of this to my doctor during my last visit, actually. And he gave me a couple different references for
Good.
eating disorder specialists. And I am researching and doing some online therapy stuff because
Right.
I know that this is an issue that I need to address.
Yeah.
And this issue has led to my weight because it's non-purging. I will sit and I will inhale stuff. I may eat only once a day, but it becomes a very large amount, and I have to really kind of reprogram how I do things. Especially now that I'm not working a 9 to 5 because of my breathing issues. I'm home all day.
Hmm.
And so, before we got on, I was like, okay, you know what? I'm a little hungry. I don't want this to build. I'm going to eat some, something from the fridge. Eat some chicken and rice that we had left over from 2 other meals. It wasn't a huge amount. It was a little Tupperware bowl full, but it was enough to stave off hunger.
Okay.
And by doing that, I know that I'm not going to overeat at dinner. So I'm trying to change how I look at things, even if it's at home. Change how I look at food and what that relationship to food looks like.
Okay.
But it's really hard when you do have that weight stigma and people that feel like they have the right to speak on what I eat or how I look. That makes it very difficult for somebody who has an eating disorder
Sure.
to deal with it.
Sure. And even if you don't have one, I'm sure if you're constantly like overloaded with inundated with people saying that you are something that you don't feel like you're not, eventually it's going to take its toll. But I really want to walk away with your listeners knowing that there is help for these type of issues. You do not have to walk through it alone. And
No.
you're not alone. There are so many people. Oh my gosh, when you told me last time that we are the majority, girl, I took that and ran with it because I was thinking to myself, like, if we are the majority, then why is it that when we go shopping at a regular place, like we get the small corner that says plus size, literally just enough to what the corner where the sign will say plus size, and it's a whole bunch of flower dresses and cat sweaters. And I'm not doing cat sweaters. Nothing
I
against
don't want to
cat
wear. You know what? A boo is great to relax in
at home.
at home. I am not trying to wear that to go shopping
Right.
or take a trip to Vegas. Love me some Vegas, but I ain't trying to wear a moo.
Yeah.
I want the cute stuff.
I want and we deserve it. And there's
You
nothing
do.
wrong. That's why like you really when I learned that information really is power. Knowledge is power. Because I was like, man, so now it's like I'm okay with walking up to someone and say, "Hey, where is the plus size? Where can I find a different version of this? Or where can I find a different size of that?" And when they say, get to whole crap backpedaling, "Oh, I don't know." Well, who can I speak to about it? If you're comfortable enough, for all my sassy sisters out there, if you're comfortable enough, ask to speak to a manager. 9 times out of 10, if they have any common sense, if they know that you're in the area, you're a constant shopper, they will make accommodations. They will actually order stuff for you so that way it's in the store or increase the variety. They have control over the inventory. We're going to have to learn how to speak up. My women and my men, hold on.
Yes.
I'm not leaving y'all out. Like my sister keeps saying, take up space, because guess what? We here. And the reason one of my friends said, the reason why you don't see the representation as it pertains to clothes and other stuff in stores everywhere, if we are the majority, and it's true, right? Then isn't that representation indicated in the variety, right? So, and my friend said it's because they don't think that we're not supposed to be here, because the medical, there's a certain, I don't know, range or whatever, where, you go from this size is healthy, this size is not healthy, and now you're obese, and now you're morbidly obese. You got 1 foot in the ground, right?
You know what? So BMI is bullshit. I'm just going to say it.
Is that what it's called? The BMI?
BMI. It's the body mass index.
Yes.
Complete bullshit.
Yes.
It was created by insurance adjusters, white, cis, European males.
Oh, Lord.
That created it. And the only reason that BMI still exists is because you get more money from the insurance company. It has absolutely nothing to do with your health. Absolutely nothing.
Because there are some plus size people that are healthy. So point blank, period.
Just because you're fat does not mean you are lazy. Does not mean that you lay around eating bonbons all day, doing absolutely nothing at all. It doesn't mean any of that. I have seen plus size women. I've had one girl was on my show last season, Larnie Mulvey. Girl is a power lifter. Like strongman competitions, power lifter. I ain't trying to lift that much. But it happens.
Yeah. Just
because you're in a bigger body does not mean you can't do these things.
And guess what? We still need clothes. While the insurance industry and the doctors, whoever else that, is dedicated to the BMI and its contributing factors, we still need to be clothed. We still need shoes. We're here. So even if your whole thing is lose weight, well, until we do that, we'd still like to look representable in public. Please and thank you.
Yes.
So, yeah, if you are, facing that situation, open your mouth, ask to speak to a member of management, and sometimes they can be, agreeable. And if not, keep going. I mean, that manager has a boss, and nobody. I hate to be this person. They don't
be a Karen. Be a Karen. Just do it. Be a Karen.
No company wants to look bad on social media. I'm just going to put that out there. So if you feel like you're not getting the results that are necessary for you to feel okay in your own skin without having to rock a cat sweater this season, make some noise. Start a riot.
Yes. Start a riot. I love it. You know what? And that is the thought we are going to end this with. I want y'all to start that riot. Start making noise. Start demanding that representation. One area that we did discuss was the bigger men. So if you are a bigger male and you are listening or watching, I want to know what you're dealing with too. Let's start a riot there.
Yes.
Let's do this. Andrea, thank you so much for coming back, for being a part of this. I love you.
I love you.
You guys, I will see you next week. Bye, everybody.